The idea of this video is to give you a rundown on Pythagoras Theorem and trigonometry. Okay, I'm sure you've hit these topics many times before. Okay, maybe you've forgotten, maybe your communication justification is a little bit off. So I'll just have a quick rundown. So you start with Pythagoras Theorem. Okay, hopefully we all remember Pythagoras Theorem, which is a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Okay, where c is the hypotenuse, okay, the longest side in the triangle. Okay, so I think it's easiest just to go through a checklist for each of these problems that you do. Okay, so I'll go through this checklist. Okay, so I'm got a problem here. Need to find this unknown value. Just circle it, find it. Yeah, no. Okay, I need to first label the sides. Okay, so need to find the hypotenuse. Easiest way to find the hypotenuse is from the right angle. It's the one opposite that. Okay, so this is C. A and B you can write however you want, doesn't matter. Label sides done. And introduction. Okay, so just write some words, 2 words. Use Pythagoras. That wasn't very hard. Done. Write the rule. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Done. Substitute in these things. Okay, I know a equals 8, so 8 squared plus 6 squared equals the unknown squared. Okay, done. And now solve. And I'm trying to find x. So a few different ways you can do it. I think the easiest way is to just take square root of those 2 sides. Okay, technically it should be plus or minus and then reject the negative one, but in Maths A land we don't worry about that. Okay, off to your calculator. Need the square root of 8 squared plus 6 squared. Okay, get 10. Sounds good. Done. Okay, I want you to have a go at this one by yourself, okay, and then I'll quickly write the solution down. Okay, have a go by yourself. Alright, how do we go? Hopefully we're all saying great. X equals 26. Just remember there's probably normally units there. If they're centimeters, put centimeters, meters, put meters, etc. Yep, all good. Okay, good. And moving down, finding one of the shorter sides. Sometimes students struggle a little bit. I recommend that we just follow exactly the same process. So I'll label the sides A, B, and C. Done. Write an introduction. I'm going to use Pythagoras. Done. Write the rule. A squared plus b squared equals c squared. Done. Substitute in the things that I know. So A is y, B is 10, C is 15. Done. And now solve. Okay. To get y by itself, I'm going to have to first subtract 10 squared from both sides. Okay, and now I've got y squared by itself. I can just find the square root. Okay, from here, off the calculator, square root of 15 squared minus 10 squared, 11.18. Okay, typically round to 2 decimal places. Here we've got units, 11.18 meters. Solved. And I know a lot of you like to learn these rules like a squared equals c squared minus b squared, and maybe you even learn the ones with the square root already in there. Yeah, I think we should try to avoid that and just remember the one rule and be able to manipulate it and rearrange it. Okay, as per usual, have a go at this one by yourself now. Okay, press pause and then I'll put the solution up so you can check yours and your C and J. There we go. Okay, don't get scared if the triangle's upside down. Okay, just follow opposite the right angle is the hypotenuse. Okay, and label the sides like normal, introduction, rule, and solve. Alright, so that's Pythagoras Theorem. Okay, we'll quickly have a look at some trigonometry as well. Okay, hopefully we're okay with trig. Okay, remember the SOHCAHTOA, whatever, means sine of the angle is the opposite side on the hypotenuse. Cosine of the angle is the adjacent on the hypotenuse. Tan of the angle is the opposite side on the adjacent side. Okay, and just so that we also remember, if my angle is here, the angle that I'm finding the sine or the cosine of, this is the hypotenuse, this is the opposite side, this is the adjacent side. Alright, let's have a go at finding an unknown side. Okay, I'm going to follow the same process as we did for Pythagoras. Okay, I'm going to start by labeling the sides. So I see my angles here. This is the opposite side. This is the hypotenuse. Okay, so I'm trying to find that d value and trying to use something that relates opposite and hypotenuse. Okay, sine is the one that relates opposite and hypotenuse together. Okay, so in the introduction, alright, use sine. Okay, and then write the rule for sine. Sine of the angle theta, okay, this is the Greek letter theta, is the opposite side divided by the hypotenuse. Okay, so sine of 35 degrees is the d value divided by 58. Oops, I did the substitution already. Okay, so always intro, rule, substitute values, okay, and then solve. Trying to get the d value by itself. It's currently divided by 58, so I'm going to have to multiply by 58 to get rid of it. Okay, and then it's a calculator exercise from here. Make sure in your calculators, especially when you're in the exams and they get you to reset your calculator, from the run mode, shift and menu, scroll down to angle, degrees. Okay, so 58 times sine of 35 gets me 33.27. Okay, I'm going to round up because that 7 is bigger than 5. 33.27. What units? No units. Great work. Okay, is this a reasonable answer? Okay, always check if you have a hypotenuse in your problem, check that the other side is less than the hypotenuse. Okay, if I got a value here, d equals 100, I know that that's wrong because my hypotenuse is 58, which is supposed to be the longest side on the triangle. Okay, so just make sure you do some of those checks. All right, no prizes for guessing what happens now. Your turn to have a go at finding E. Okay, so have a go, press pause, and then look at the answer. Okay, there we go. If you wrote use tan, okay, no good. Okay, it's called the tangent ratio, not the tan ratio. In the same way, it's not the sin ratio, it's the sine ratio. Okay, again, triangle's a little bit weird, but wherever that angle is, imagine you're standing there, the one opposite it is the opposite side. The one beside it is the adjacent side. Okay, just think about who you sit adjacent to in your class, whether you like them or not. Okay, so notice that in all these problems, we were finding a numerator, okay? The unknown was on the top of the fraction, okay, which made it a little bit more simple. Okay, we'll have a look at finding some where the unknown ends up as the denominator. Okay, so again, we'll have a go. Here's some angle. I'll label the sides. This is the opposite side. This is the hypotenuse. Done. I should be good at these by now. Introduction. Opposite and hypotenuse will be sine. So I'm going to use sine. Okay. You need to write the rule. Done. Substitute in the values I know. Sine of 38.13 equals 92.7 over g. Okay, the unknown is on the bottom. Some people say, can I just multiply by 92.7? Yeah, sure you can. Okay, this isn't going to cancel out, and even if it did cancel out, you'd be left with 1 on g, okay, which is useless to you as well. Okay, you get two options from here. I'm happy with you just switching these two, doing the old switcheroo. Okay, g equals 92.7 on sine 38.13. Okay, plug it in your calculator. Okay, or, so that's option 1. Or if you want to actually understand what's going on, okay, we can multiply by g first. So multiply both sides by g. G sine 38.13 is 92.7. Okay, so just brought that g up like I bring up every other value. Okay, and then I can divide by sine of 38.13. Okay, I get to the same point after all, but I think it's better to actually just multiply and divide rather than option 1, which is like just using voodoo magic. Okay, so from here, enter in the values that we need to find. 92.7 divided by sine of 38.13. And I get 150.13. Okay, as my answer. Any units? No units. Does it make sense? Hypotenuse 150, the other side's 92. Yeah, sounds okay. Hypotenuse should be bigger. And it is. Okay, from here, you know the drill. Have a go at this guy. Okay, and I'll put the solution up in a sec. Alright, there we go, 89.71. Again, no units. If they were, make sure you add them in. Just note that I didn't note it here. There's actually a multipliers between the n and the cosine. You can write it in if you want, or you can leave it just implied like we did in that example. Yeah, but remember, in these two examples, the unknown was on the denominator, and we had to do a different process for when compared to when the unknown was in the numerator. Okay, last one is finding the angle. Okay, but similar idea. Okay, trying to find unknown angle. I'm not going to do anything different. Okay, I'm going to do exactly the same thing. I'm going to label sides. There's my angle. There's my opposite side. There's my adjacent side. Introduction, opposite and adjacent. I'll be using tan. So I'll write, use the tangent ratio. Write what the rule is. Tan theta is opposite over adjacent. I've written the rule. Substitute in the values I know. Okay, tan theta equals opposite side 2.6 divided by the adjacent side 3.7. Substitute it in. Now I need to solve for the angle. Okay, I'm trying to get rid of this tan. Most students will say, okay, divide by tan. Okay, try typing that into your calculator. Got no chance. Okay, to find the angle, we need to find the inverse tan of that value. Okay, taking inverse tan of both sides. Okay, inverse tan of the left-hand side gets rid of that tan. Inverse tan of the right-hand side, something we can just type into our calculators. Okay, so inverse tan of 2.6 divided by 3.7. Okay, and that'll give us an angle in degrees. 35.10 degrees. If you get something completely different to that, then again, go into your calculator, make sure that your settings are correct. Alright, as per usual, you have a go at this. Off you go, on your bike. Yeah, there we go, the angle, 10.27 degrees. Okay, notice in all of these, whenever I have a fraction or something, I just leave it as a fraction and then substitute it in. If you have a habit of using decimals, you'll always get a slightly different answer here, and then when you complete quizzes online, you'll get incorrect answers and not be sure of why. Okay, so I recommend just keeping things in fractions until the final step, and you can solve. Alright, so from here, at the bottom of those last 3 pages, there's problems to have a go at. Have a crack at them. If you don't get the answers at the bottom, come and show me and we can discuss what happened. Okay, bye.